Hello, mighty companion. Welcome to.
Not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of my mom, not a victim of my pa. I'm not a victim of events or circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. 'Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. 'Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see.
Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy on Facebook Live, and that ain't no jive. And I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, Hardcore Course in Miracles. We're going to do Is Each One to Be Judged in the End on page 38 in the Teacher's Manual of A Course in Miracles, Foundation for Inner Peace Version.
I'm not a victim of the North, I'm not a victim of the South, not a victim of anything except what comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. 'Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Help me out now. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see.
Welcome to a Hardcore Course in Miracles. We're going to be doing Is Each One to Be Judged in the End on page 38 in the Manual for Teachers, A Course in Miracles, the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. So that's Brother John Christmas at johnChristmas.com if you love that music and you can get it. So let's remind ourselves again.
I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. 'Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me.
Oh yeah. John Christmas, www.johnChristmas.com if you want that music. So good to see all you mighty companions, the family. I'm looking at your comments. I'm glad you interact with each other. Don't forget to share the video. We're going to go deep. So what are the guidelines for the Course in Miracles? What are the guidelines for the Course in Miracles? I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm the Divine Repetition Teacher. I'm the Divine Remembering Teacher. I've been a full-time teacher and sharer of A Course in Miracles for over 30 years. And my purpose is to save you time and to save me time. So I'm going to give you the guidelines from the Course. These are the instructions from A Course in Miracles in the workbook for the best way to approach A Course in Miracles. Remember only this. Remember only this. Remember only this. Remember only this. Listen to me now. Are you ready? Get everything adjusted. Are you ready? That was a good palm print, wasn't it? You need not believe the ideas You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will or may find hard to believe. You may find some of these ideas hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. Some of the ideas in the Course in Miracles may seem to be quite startling. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. You're not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. I do not analyze A Course in Miracles. If you need a teacher that analyzes the Course in Miracles, that's not me. The Course in Miracles says over and over and over and over, remember this. Don't forget. Remember. Don't forget. It doesn't say analyze it. It says remember this. So I try to aid in the remembering while also doing the Course in the plain language way, so maybe you can hear it even better. So you are not asked to judge the ideas at all. Also, the Course in Miracles says something else that's extremely powerful. The Course in Miracles says their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. You have to use the ideas. If you use the ideas, if you apply the ideas, if you apply the ideas, you will see that the ideas are true. So we're going to do a section in the Course in Miracles that is so powerful. It is a section that is called, Is Each One to be Judged in the End? Are you going to be judged in the end? Sometimes in fundamental religion, there's a big deal made all the time about God's judgment. So this is going to be very interesting because we're going to talk about, well, what is love's judgment? What is the Creator's judgment? Are you going to be judged at the end of your life? Are you going to be judged? The Course in Miracles answers that in its own way. I'm going to go through the paragraph, and then we're going to see what it is that the Course in Miracles is asking us to remember. Are you ready? I hope you're ready. Let's go through it together. So good to see you here. It's each one to be judged in the end. Are you going to be judged in the end? Yes. Yes, indeed. You're going to be judged in the end. Course in Miracles says you will be judged in the end. No one, not even you, can escape God's final judgment. Yes, you're going to be judged. You cannot escape love's judgment. You cannot escape God's judgment. Who could flee forever from the truth? You can't run away from the truth forever. So yeah, you're going to be judged. You are not going to escape God's final judgment. But when will you receive God's final judgment? Do you know that the Course says that you're not going to necessarily receive God's final judgment at the end of your life? that you can receive God's final judgment right now. You can receive the Creator's final judgment right now. You can receive love's final judgment right now. What does it say? It says, but the final judgment will not come until the final judgment is no longer associated with fear. So what does that mean? It means you won't be able to accept God's final judgment on you until you stop associating God's final judgment as being something that you need to have fear about. The Course in Miracles is saying to us what? It's saying, don't associate God's final judgment with fear. There is nothing frightening about God's final judgment. There is nothing frightening about God's final judgment, according to A Course in Miracles. One day, each one will welcome God's final judgment. So does that mean that one day you will welcome God's final judgment? Will you finally one day welcome love's final judgment? Well, when you welcome God's final judgment, and do you know when you no longer associate God's final judgment with fear so that you welcome it, on that very day, whenever that is, you will receive God's final judgment. Now, this is a hardcore Course in Miracles class that is especially geared toward people who are studying A Course in Miracles, even though anyone's welcome to watch and listen. If for any reason the connection seems to pause or blank out for a second, don't go anywhere. Just hang in there. It'll come back. There's a little technical glitch with the service, Wi-Fi service, but just hang in there. I'll come back. So don't go anywhere. If it pauses, okay, let's go back. The Course in Miracles says that one of the things that's really important is that you read A Course in Miracles slowly. If you're going to study A Course in Miracles, don't read it like a novel. Don't read it like a regular book that you're trying to get through and read. You want to read for comprehension in the sense that you want to go slow with it. And that's the way I do it. Also, I want to invite you to not try to give your own personal interpretations of A Course in Miracles based on other things you've studied and your past learnings from other things. Set your own learning aside for a minute and let yourself listen to what the Course in Miracles is saying. Like number one, it says, are you going to be judged in the end? Yes, because you can't run away from the truth forever. When will you receive God's final judgment? It says you will receive God's final judgment when you're no longer afraid of God's final judgment. What's going to happen to everybody? Well, the Course in Miracles says one day everyone will welcome love's final judgment, and on the day that you welcome it, when you're not afraid of love's final judgment, the Course says, then you will have God's final judgment given to you. So what are you going to hear when you receive the Creator's final judgment? Well, the Course in Miracles says you will hear your sinlessness proclaimed. You will hear your innocence proclaimed around and around the world, setting the world free as God's final judgment on you is received. So what are you going to hear when you receive God's final judgment? You're going to hear your innocence being proclaimed. And it will be proclaimed around and around the world, setting the world free as you receive God's final judgment on you. And what is God's final judgment? That you are sinless. You are sinless. You are sinless. You are innocent. You are sinless. You are innocent. That is God's final judgment on you. You are innocent. You are sinless. You were not born in sin. You are not a sinner. There is no such thing as sin. Sin is a belief that a guilty mind accepts about themselves. You may be a lot like me. When I was a child, I could not accept that teaching. I could not, in my gut, just did not believe that my Creator would condemn me. So the Course in Miracles says, when you're not afraid to hear it, you're going to hear your innocence proclaimed around and around the world, setting it free as God's final judgment on you is received. This is the judgment in which your peace, your salvation, your happiness lies. That you are totally sinless, that you are totally innocent. This is the judgment that will set you free. So what is the judgment that will set you free? The judgment that will set you free is you are sinless. You are totally innocent. Can you make mistakes? Yes. Can you misperceive? Yes. But mistakes are for loving correction. The Course in Miracles says that you are sinless. This is the judgment in which all things are freed with you. So the judgment that you are innocent, are you aware that the judgment that you are innocent not only frees you? A Course in Miracles says this is the judgment in which all things are freed with you. So what happens at that point when you begin to not be afraid to accept that you are innocent? There are some people, because of what they've learned about God and the fear of God, if they hear me saying that you are innocent and sinless and that there's no such thing as sin, that would be the scariest thing that they could possibly hear. And they would cut me off so fast and not listen to what I'm teaching so fast it'll make your head swim. So they really would be afraid. They would be afraid of God's final judgment. But isn't that interesting? That from a Course in Miracles perspective, to be afraid of God's final judgment doesn't mean you're afraid of God's condemnation on you. It says when you're afraid of God's final judgment, from a Course in Miracles perspective, it means you are afraid to hear that you are not a sinner, that you would be afraid to hear there's no such thing as sin and that you are totally innocent and that you were born in innocence. Do you know that that thought can be more frightening to people than the idea that they are sinful and guilty? So not being afraid of God's final judgment means that you're not afraid to hear about how loved you are, how innocent you are, how sinless you are. And when you are willing to do that, guess what the Course says next? Time pauses as eternity comes near, and silence lies across the world, that everyone may hear this judgment of the child of God. So I'm about to give you the judgment. Here is what the Course in Miracles says, the last judgment. The last judgment. This is going to be the final judgment. This is going to be the final conclusion, the final perception that you have about yourself. So I want you to hear it. Are you ready to listen? Are you ready to listen and hear this judgment on you? Here you go. Holy are you. That means Innocent are you. Loved are you. Holy are you. Eternal, free, and whole. You want to hear? Kim, Michelle, Jim, CJ, all my mighty companions that are online right now. Do you want to hear your judgment? Here is the judgment. Here you go. Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole. Holy are you. What does it mean to be holy? It means you are eternal, you are free, and you are whole. At peace forever in the heart of God. Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Do you hear me? Let me tell you again, mighty companion. Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of love. Where is the world and where is sorrow now? Where is the world of fear and where is sorrow now? Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole are you, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world and where is sorrow now? Where is the world and where is sorrow now? Now, is this your judgment on yourself, teacher of God, teacher of love? Is this the judgment that you have on yourself, that you're totally innocent, totally sinless, and totally guiltless? Do you believe that you being sinless and guiltless and innocent, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that that is wholly true? Do you really believe that you're innocent, that you are completely innocent? Do you really believe that that is wholly true? No. It's right there in the book. No. You really don't 100% believe that. You probably wouldn't even be studying this or watching this. No, not yet, 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 not yet. You don't believe that you're totally innocent, sinless, and guiltless? Not yet. But this is still your goal while you are here. What is your goal while you are here? Take a ride with me. What is your goal while you are here? Do you know that your goal is to allow the blocks to be removed that would keep you from recognizing how innocent you are? So let's look at paragraph 2. It says, is this your judgment on yourself, teacher of God? Do you believe that your complete innocence is wholly true? No, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. But still, this is your goal while you are here. So what does that mean? It is your function to prepare yourself for what? It is your function to prepare yourself to hear this judgment. What judgment? That you are sinless, that you are holy, that holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world and where is sorrow now? It is your function to prepare yourself to hear this judgment and to recognize that that judgment is true. It is your function to prepare yourself to hear that you are holy, eternal, free, and whole, forever in the heart of God. That is what you are here to do, to prepare yourself to hear this judgment and to recognize that this judgment is true. One instant of complete belief in this. In what? That holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. One instant of complete belief in that, and you will go beyond belief to certainty. One instant out of time, just one instant of believing your innocence can bring time's end. Judge not, judge not, judge not, judge not, judge not for you, but judge yourself. So if you judge yourself as anything but innocent, if you judge yourself as anything but what? Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. If you judge yourself in any other way, the course says that delays the final judgment. If you see yourself as being anything but innocent, you are delaying the final judgment. What is your judgment of the world? What is your judgment of the world? What is your judgment? What is your judgment of the world? Have you yet learned to stand aside? Have you learned to stand aside and hear the voice of judgment in yourself? Have you learned how to step aside, step aside, step aside? Have you learned to step aside and hear the voice of judgment in yourself? Have you learned how to step aside and hear God's judgment within yourself? What is God's judgment? Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Have you let yourself hear that voice of judgment? Have you let yourself hear that judgment in yourself? Or do you still attempt to take God's role from God? Now, what does that mean? You didn't create yourself, so you really can't judge yourself. You didn't create yourself, so you cannot judge yourself. You have to let yourself be judged by that which created you. You didn't create yourself. You just created your ego. You just created the image and beliefs you have about yourself. So you have taken on the role of God if you think your judgment about yourself is truer than God's judgment about you. And God's, the Creator's judgment about you is what? That you are holy, eternal, free, and whole, and what? At peace forever in the heart of God. You are innocent, you are sinless. That is God's judgment. If you have any other judgment about yourself, that you're guilty, that you're bad, that you're not enough, any negative ideas that you have about yourself, that's what the Course in Miracles would call you being arrogant, because you are thinking that your judgment and opinion of yourself is truer than the Creator's judgment, which is that you are sinless and guiltless and innocent. So, do you still attempt to take God's role from God? Do you still try to be the judge of everything and everybody, including yourself? Learn to be quiet. Learn to be what? Learn to be quiet. Learn to be what? Learn to be quiet. Learn to be quiet. Learn to shut up. Learn to be quiet. Learn to shut up. Learn to be quiet. Learn to get your ego to shut up. Learn how to get that voice in your head that's trying to figure out everything and analyze everything. Learn to shut that voice up. Learn to be quiet, for God's voice is heard in stillness. You will hear the voice of love in stillness. You will hear the voice of truth in quietness. The Course says, learn to be quiet, for His voice is heard in stillness. And His judgment comes to who? Who does God's judgment come to? It comes to all who stand aside in quiet listening and wait for him. So what do? You stand aside, you listen quietly and wait for God. You come, you stand aside, you are quiet, and you do quiet listening. And when you do quiet listening, this is what you will hear. You will hear God's voice say this to you. This is what you will hear. This is what you will hear. You will hear this. Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world and where is sorrow now? When you stand aside in quiet listening and get past that voice in your head that's always jabbering and saying other things other than the fact that you are innocent and loved, when you stand aside in quiet listening and wait for God, then you'll hear the voice say, holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world and where is sorrow now? So, do you know that the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, is about to tell you something directly? So are you doing quiet listening right now? Huh? Are you doing quiet listening right now? Well, if you're doing quiet listening right now, then let me share what the Course says in paragraph 3. You who are sometimes sad and sometimes angry, who sometimes feel your just due is not given you, and your best efforts, you feel like sometimes your best efforts are met with a lack of appreciation. Have you ever felt that? Like your best efforts meet with lack of appreciation and even contempt? Well, the voice for God gives us some instructions. It says, give up these foolish thoughts, give up these foolish thoughts, give up these foolish thoughts. What are the foolish thoughts? Well, thoughts of sadness, that's a foolish thought. Thoughts of anger, that's a foolish thought. Believing that you don't believe that your just due is given to you, those are foolish thoughts. Believing that your best efforts are met with a lack of appreciation and even contempt, give up these foolish thoughts. They are foolish thoughts. From a Course in Miracles perspective, these are foolish thoughts. These thoughts of sadness and anger and feeling like you're not enough and feeling like you're not appreciated, these thoughts are too small. These thoughts are too meaningless to occupy your holy mind, your innocent mind, an instant longer. The Course in Miracles, do you know the Course in Miracles calls these thoughts of anger, these thoughts of feeling like you're not enough, these thoughts of sadness, the Course in Miracles calls these thoughts small and meaningless thoughts. These are thoughts that are too small and meaningless to occupy your beautiful mind an instant longer. God's judgment waits for you to set you free. God's judgment waits for me to set me free. God's judgment waits for me to set me free. God's judgment waits for me to set me free. God's judgment waits for you to set you free. God, did you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Love's judgment waits for who? Love's judgment waits for you to set you free. What can the world hold out to you? Regardless of your judgment on the world's gifts, what can the world hold out for you that you would rather have? What is it that the world is trying to give you that you would rather have than your freedom, than your innocence, than your peace? What is it that the world offers to you that you would rather have than to be free of sadness and anger and feelings of not being enough? Course in Miracles asks, you will be judged, you will be judged, you will be judged, you will be judged and judged in fairness and judged in honesty. You are going to be judged. Do you know that you are going to be judged in fairness and in honesty? There is no deceit in God. There is no deceit in love. Say it. There is no deceit in love. There is no deceit in love. There is no deceit in God. There is no deceit in God. There is no deceit in love. So what does that mean when I say there is no deceit in the Creator? That means that our Creator's promises are sure. You can depend on the promises of our Creator. Do you hear what I'm telling you? Open your heart. Get out of the intellect. Get out of the intellect. I didn't say get out of your awareness. I said get out of the analytical mind for a minute and listen to what this beautiful teaching, A Course in Miracles, is saying. You will be judged and judged in fairness and honesty. There is no deceit in God. God's promises are sure. Only remember that. Remember what? Remember that there is no deceit in God and that God's promises are sure. Only remember that. Remember what? Remember that. Remember what? Remember that there is no deceit in love. Remember that you will be judged in fairness and in honesty, which is going to be what? Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of love. Where is the world and where is sorrow now? Listen to me now. You who are sometimes sad, you who are sometimes angry, you who sometimes feel your just due is not given you. You who sometimes feel that your best efforts meet with lack of appreciation and even contempt. Give up these foolish thoughts. Give up your 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 foolish thoughts. Give up, let go, release your foolish thoughts. So what are foolish thoughts from A Course in Miracles perspective? A foolish thought is you believing that you were born in sin, that you are a sinner. You make mistakes. Mistakes are for correction. You are a child of God. You are the child of an infinite creator. And you are an extension of that love. You may make errors, and the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, is there to correct your errors, to guide you. So let go of your foolish thoughts. Let go of your little thoughts. What are little thoughts? Little thoughts are sad thoughts. Little thoughts are angry thoughts, jealous thoughts, lack thoughts, thoughts of sickness, thoughts of attack, thoughts of separation, thoughts of guilt and grievances, thoughts of death, thoughts of you being just a little body that dies one day. These are all little and meaningless, small and meaningless thoughts. The Course in Miracles says very clearly, give up these foolish thoughts. They're too small and meaningless to occupy your innocent mind an instant longer. God's judgment waits for you to set you free. Do you know what God's judgment is? Holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world? And where is your sorrow now? What is it that this world could hold out to you that would have more value than this? You will be judged, and judged in fairness and in honesty. There is no deceit in God. There is no deceit in your Creator. Your Creator's promises are sure. Only remember that. Remember what? God's promises has guaranteed God's judgment. God's promises has guaranteed God's judgment. God's promises has guaranteed God's judgment. Love's promises has guaranteed love's judgment. And God's judgment alone will be accepted in the end. The only judgment you're going to accept in the end is holy are you, eternal, free and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world? Where is sorrow now? That is the judgment. That is the judgment. God's promises have guaranteed God's judgment, and God's judgment alone will be accepted in the end. Love's judgment alone will be accepted in the end. God's judgment, love's judgment will be accepted in the end. In the end. It is your function to make that end be soon. It is your function to make that judgment be soon. It is your function. It is your function to make that end be soon. It is your function to hold it in your heart. It is your function to hold God's judgment of you in your heart so that you can be free and free everyone with you. Holy are you, eternal, free and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world? And where is sorrow now? So what is your function? Your function is to take that one statement and say it to yourself and remind yourself of it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Don't make this complicated. Don't make this complicated. Don't make the Course in Miracles complicated. I've been studying it and teaching it for 40 years. And let me give you a bit of advice. Your ego, the mind that's been trained by the world, your ego, the part of you that may think that you are guilty and separate the ego, will try to make A Course in Miracles really complicated. It's not. You're going to be judged in the end. You can't escape the judgment that you're innocent and beautiful. You're going to hear the final judgment about how loved and innocent you are when you're not afraid to hear it. You're going to hear a judgment that's going to set you free. It's going to tell you that you are sinless and innocent. This is the judgment of your Creator on you, and it's going to set you free. And that judgment of your innocence, your sinlessness, your guiltlessness, it's going to free everyone with you. You need to be quiet. According to the Course in Miracles, you need to be quiet so that you can hear this judgment. Holy are you, eternal, free and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world, and where is sorrow now? Where is sorrow now? Where is sorrow now? Do you believe that you're totally innocent and without guilt? Hell no, you don't believe that completely, totally right now. You wouldn't even have any fear and guilt about anything and any way about anyone. But it's your goal to learn how to accept that judgment. It's your function to prepare yourself to hear how innocent and loved you are and to recognize that it is true. Do you know that if you have one instant of complete belief in your innocence, you will go beyond belief to certainty of it? Do not judge, because judgment is not your function, and you will judge yourself, and that will cause you to delay this loving final judgment. So don't try to take God's role away from God. You did not create yourself. You did not create yourself. You did not create yourself. So hear your Creator's judgment on you. How do you do that? Learn to be quiet. Learn to be quiet, for God's voice is heard in stillness. You hear me, Ashley? You hear me, Yvette? You hear me, mighty companion? Learn to be quiet, for God's voice is heard in stillness. And God's judgment comes to everybody who will just be quiet and listen. So stop thinking those small, tiny, ego, meaningless thoughts of sadness and anger and feeling like you don't receive what you deserve. Don't let those kind of thoughts occupy your innocent mind any longer. Your Creator wants to set you free. Do you know that you're going to be judged, and you're going to be judged in fairness and honesty? There's no deceit in God. God's promises are sure. Just remember that. Your Creator's promises have guaranteed your Creator's judgment, and only your Creator's judgment is going to be accepted in the end. But it's your function to make that time of accepting your innocence and sinlessness right now. It's your function to hold that loving idea of yourself in your heart. And then what do? You offer it to all the world. You offer that innocent, loving judgment to all the world to keep it safe. So, I'm going to do a quick recap at the end. Also, we're going to pull the miracle card. I always pull a card in my hardcore class as a message from Spirit to the group. I call it pulling the miracle card. I'm a full-time teacher. This is how I receive my income in the world in order to further my ministry and also to be provided for. All that I have comes only from God, but it comes through those who are moved by Spirit to share with me. So if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy.com, and you can make a financial expression of appreciation. And thank you very much for doing that. If you like to use Venmo, my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you. Any way the Spirit can do that through me. And so I do one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where I bring my 40 years of experience with the Course in Miracles and other metaphysical teachings into our session to clear up any blocks that you have and to help you receive everything you've ever wanted in your heart. I've also been a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist for over 40 years. It was what actually led me to getting the Course in Miracles in the first place, really. And if you're open to it, and I'd say if you're open to it, I will also use my knowledge and wisdom and experience as an astrologer and numerologist in our personal session also, because the Course in Miracles teaches that the Holy Spirit uses everything we have made, everything that we've learned, for the purpose of communication and helping and healing. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent Him who sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because I know that the Holy Spirit that sent me will guide me and speak through me. On Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page, I do another Course in Miracles class on Facebook Live on Sundays at 1 o'clock p.m. And of course, Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time, we do hardcore Course in Miracles with all my incredible, mighty companions. And know that I see your comments and I read your comments, and I feel like you are my family and that we are all family. So I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to you. And I want to tell you again, you're completely holy. You're completely innocent. Eternal. You're free. You're whole. The truth is you are at peace. Your true self is at peace forever in the heart of God. And when you realize that, where is the world? Where is the world? And where is sorrow? So let's pull a card, shall we? Let's see what message Spirit has for us today. Alrighty, here we go. So everybody just open your mind and let me see what is the card that I'm going to pull that is the message for us. It's exciting. Here we go. Let me remember what my purpose is. Let me remember what my purpose is. Let you remember what your purpose is. So what did we hear tonight? That your purpose was to learn how to allow yourself to receive God's final judgment, which is that you are holy and that you are free and that you are whole and that you are at peace forever in the mind of God. It says that's your function, to get every block out of the way that keeps you from remembering that you're innocent, eternal, free and whole, sinless and guiltless, at peace forever in the heart of God. That's what you are here to do. Let me remember what my purpose is. Say that to yourself. Let you remember what your purpose is. 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 Let me remember what my purpose is. Let me remember what my purpose is. That's what you're here to remember. Let me remember what my purpose is. So say it to yourself. Let me remember what my purpose is. Child of God. Child of God. Listen to me now. Listen to me now. Child of God. Child of God. Child of God. You were created to create the good. You were created to create the good. Do you hear me? You were created to create the good. You were created to create the beautiful. You were created to create the beautiful. You were created to create the beautiful. You were created to create the holy. 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 Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget what? Do not forget what? Listen to me one more time. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. I love you. I love you too. I love you too. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Child of love, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Let you remember what your purpose is. Let you remember what your purpose is. So what is the one thing that we are here to remember? What is the last judgment? What is the judgment that you're going to hear when you're not afraid to hear it? Here it goes. Holy are you. You are holy. You are holy. You are innocent. You are holy. You are holy. Holy are you. Holy are you. Holy are you. Innocent are you. Innocent are you. Innocent are you. Eternal, free, and whole. At peace forever in the heart of God. At peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world? And where is sorrow now? Holy are you. Eternal, free, and whole. At peace forever in the heart of God. That is what you are. It's time to hear your sinlessness proclaimed around and around and around the world. Set the world free. Free everyone else with you. You are innocent, innocent, innocent. You are innocent. You are sinless. You are innocent. You are innocent. Child of God, you were created to create. 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 You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Do not forget it. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. Okay, mighty companions, I love you. I love you. I treasure you. I treasure you. You're innocent. You're guiltless. You're sinless. And I want you to know that we are the mighty companions. That's who we are. It's been my honor. It's been my privilege to share this section. Is each one to be judged in the end? Oh yeah. But it's a loving judgment. It's an innocent judgment. Please listen to this at least 4 times. Please share this video. Mighty companions, may the course be with you.